Hi, it's Dr. George Smolinski, and welcome back to the best virtual assistant course on Udemy. Hire a virtual assistant and liberate your life. So this is the very last lesson in our course. I know you're sad and a little probably nervous because this is your time. This is going to be your time to take everything that I've told you, including all of these essential tools and apps, and go out and get yourself a virtual assistant starting now. Start now and go out and liberate your life. Make me proud, don't let me down, doctor's orders. So the last thing I'm going to tell you about then is what's contained in today's lesson. These essential tools and apps are the things that I personally use with my virtual assistants to really maximize my productivity. I've used a ton of different tools. Let me tell you, with 36 virtual assistants, I've used just about every tool out there probably to work with my virtual assistants. These are the best, and by and large, all of these are free. If any of them cost you a few bucks, I will let you know, but there are great free tools out there, so make the most of them to make the most of your relationship with your virtual assistant. So the first one I would recommend is Trello. As a part of this course, I'm giving you my video on how to use Trello. Trello is a project management app. It's a web app, so you don't download anything to your computer. It's all in the cloud, and it works great. Now, let's face it, there's a lot of different tools that are out there, like Basecamp and other project management tools that really work well, but I like Trello because it's free, and the free version is awesome. It's easy to communicate within the program with virtual assistants. You can assign virtual assistants different tasks. You can assign them checklists and due dates, and it's super easy to use. It tracks how the progress is going with your different projects, and I love it. It works so great that even my wife and I use it to manage things around the house. If we're going on a trip somewhere, my wife puts in everything that we need for our packing list, because let me tell you, when you're traveling with 4 kids, you got a whole lot of crap you got to pack. Any of you people out there with kids know this. But again, back to Trello. It's a great way to track exactly what's going on. It's a great way to communicate with your virtual assistants and a great way to manage your projects. It has a great iPhone app, Android app as well, and I love it. If you want to know how to use Trello, again, the video that I take you through point A to point B, or I guess more accurately A to C with Trello, is available for you as a part of this course. It shows you how to set up Trello, how to use it, all the tips and tricks that I've learned with using my favorite project management tool, Trello. Now, where to find virtual assistants? As I've noted before, I use Odesk. It's the world's largest freelancer site, and conveniently, it's actually really easy to use. They've got a great web program. Now, they don't have an app, which is kind of a detriment to Odesk, but their web-based program works well, and it is mobile friendly. So you can easily manage your virtual assistants and locate them, new ones to hire, all that through the online program available on your smartphone. I like Odesk because you can find anyone to do anything on there. I've used them extensively. Like I've said before, I've had 36 virtual assistants that I've hired through Odesk. It works great. Now, I use Odesk for long-term virtual assistants and big projects. For small projects, as I mentioned before, I use Fiverr. Fiverr, you can get any task done for $5, and it's a great way to get started with outsourcing. You can get a lot of quality work done too. As a matter of fact, the logo and introduction, that little video introduction program for this course I had made on Fiverr. It was $10 to get that logo and the video intro made. I think, personal opinion, it's pretty high quality, looks good, and for $10, I couldn't have done that. That would have taken me, decades probably to learn all of the computer skills necessary to do that. And that's a great example of liberating your life. It took me about 10 minutes to find someone on Fiverr. I found 2 guys actually, one to do the logo and one to do the video, and that was it. I didn't have to learn any sort of fancy computer programs or animation programs or any sort of logo design. I had someone else, an expert, do it for me Two guys, $5 each, $10 for that intro. So, cloud storage. Now, unless you've been under a rock for the past decade, you probably have heard about cloud storage. Now, cloud storage, there's a couple of programs I'm going to describe, but it is a way to put documents or other files in the cloud. They're not stored on your computer, they're stored in the cloud on servers that are not located in your house, okay? And they're not in the sky, they're in big server farms. But these couple of programs that I'm going to describe are free. I know a ton about them because I've been using them for a long time with my virtual assistants. I even wrote the book on cloud storage. For real, I wrote a book called Cloud Watching, a review of the best cloud storage programs on Amazon, and it describes all of these programs in even further detail. So the first one of these is Google Drive. Now, you need to sign up for a Google account if you want to have Google Drive, but it is great. It's got a ton of storage for free. There is a paid option, but I'll tell you, I have never ran up against or bumped up against the limits of storage with Google Drive. It's extremely easy to use on laptops and desktop computers. Now, I'll tell you though, it's not so easy with smartphones. It's kind of buggy and it's a little cumbersome to use, but I do use Google Drive and I use it every day actually. Oh, the last thing I was going to mention with Google Drive real quick, it is very easy to share different documents with Google Drive. If you've made a Word document or a PowerPoint or a spreadsheet, because again, Google Drive has a skimmed down version of Microsoft Word on it, or if it's a video or an audio file, whatever it is, you can share it with a virtual assistant or your friends or your colleagues very easily via Google Drive. Evernote is the next one I'd like to discuss. Now, Evernote, also free, but it has a lot less storage than Google Drive. They limit you to only 60 megabytes per month, and to be honest, that's not a lot. Now, the premium membership gets up into the gigabytes level, but the premium membership is about $50 a year. Evernote does excel, though, in its smartphone app. It works really well and a lot better than Google Drive. It also supports multiple note-taking formats. Now, why is this cool? If you do decide to go with the premium Evernote, and you take a picture with your webcam. Now, as an example, I took a picture of a chicken with salsa recipe that I had from a magazine with a webcam on my computer and saved it to Evernote. So that evidences the multiple note-taking formats because you can also use Evernote for things like audio notes or PDFs, Word documents, whatever. But what I was getting back to with the premium Evernote, it will search for text within documents. Obviously, programs like Google Drive, that'll do it too. But with Evernote, it'll even search within pictures or scanned notes, which is really cool. I had to search one time for salsa recipes in my Evernote files because I keep all my recipes on there. And guess what popped up? The webcam note from the chicken with salsa recipe. It's really cool. I don't know how Evernote does it, but they do, and it works really great. The last one is Dropbox. Now, I have not used Dropbox as extensively as Evernote or Google Drive because I got started with cloud storage using Evernote and Google Drive. However, Dropbox is great. It's easy to use, and it's more intuitive than Evernote, perhaps. It also has a ton of storage. It's free. I've used it for working with one of my virtual assistants who recorded an audiobook for me. He actually made an Audible recording on audible.com of my cloud storage ebook, and he put all the files in Dropbox, and it was very easy to work with him. Just one example, though, with Dropbox for this particular project. I've used it for other projects too, and it works great. Now, in order to communicate effectively with your virtual assistant, you're going to have some sort of what we call a voice over internet protocol program. Now, there's Skype and there's Google Hangouts, and I'm going to talk about Skype first. Skype is a pretty good program. It has worldwide coverage, but as some of you may have known, if you've used Skype, it can be a bit buggy. You can have dropped calls or poor quality of calls, especially if you don't have that great of bandwidth. That's why it's extremely important to do the virtual assistant interview probably over Skype in advance. Because if they don't have enough bandwidth to support Skype, they're going to be wasting your time and your money because they're not going to be able to work as fast as you need them to. Skype's a pretty good program, and it's free, if you don't know, to make a Skype-to-Skype call between you and another Skype user. It does, however, cost money to make a call to someone else on a landline. And as it were, I usually spend about $10 a month on Skype because I'm making other calls to other landlines and other cell phones, things like that. Now, the alternative to Skype is Google Hangouts. I described before how you can make a virtual reference library for your virtual assistants using Google Hangouts on air and YouTube, because any Google Hangout on air that you record is saved to your YouTube account. Just regular Google Hangouts is a great communication tool that is not recorded on YouTube. Google Hangouts, you can talk with anyone. You can do screen shares with other people. You can do a video call. You can do just a voice call. You can do it to anyone else that is on Google. It's extremely easy to use because it's accessed through your Google Plus profile, and it's free. I highly recommend it, and I've used it with my virtual assistants. This is a pretty cool app that I'd just like to mention quickly called Scanner Pro. This is an app that I use, and I think it falls into the category of apps to use with virtual assistants because it uses your smartphone to make a PDF out of any piece of paper. If you have a bill or something that needs to be translated or whatever it is, you put it on a surface that has a darker background, and it uses your iPhone's or your smartphone's camera in order to make a PDF of that file. That file then can be uploaded to Google Drive, Evernote, or Dropbox, as I mentioned before, and that's an easy way to share files and to create PDFs to share with your virtual assistants. Now, I will tell you that this app does cost money. It's a couple of bucks to pay for it, but I'll tell you as well that this app works so great that I've used it for the past 5 years with no problems whatsoever. So I think it's probably worth a couple of bucks. The last program I'd like to mention is TripIt. A lot of people, hopefully you included once you start working with your VA, will use virtual assistants to do trip management. They'll use them for booking trips, doing travel research, everything that I've talked about and more. You need a program, though, to help manage your itineraries, especially if you're doing a lot of traveling, and TripIt is the best one to use, in my opinion. The basic TripIt is free. You can sign up for it through your Google account or just make sign up using your email and a password. So it's very easy to sign up for. It's very easy to use because what TripIt does is it takes your email, and let's say that your virtual assistant or you have booked something through Expedia and you get the confirmation email. What TripIt does is it goes into your email and it pulls that into an itinerary for you. And it does it automatically, which is really cool. If you wait about an hour, it takes about an hour for TripIt to read through your email and get it up into your itinerary. It does it automatically. You can alternatively forward your plans to plans@tripit.com, and that works well too. And it's a great way to very easily manage your itineraries. Now, there is a paid version for TripIt Pro as well. TripIt Pro, that's the paid version, and it costs about $50 a year. I myself have paid for it because I think it's worth it. You get seat notifications if you have updates in your seats that maybe a better seat becomes available on an airplane flight. And the other thing that's cool about it is you get free Hertz #1 Club Gold membership for a whole year. Now, if you're an aficionado of efficiency like I am, you like using things like Hertz #1 Club Gold because instead of waiting at the rental car counter, you just walk right from the airport terminal to your rental car and drive off, which is awesome. You probably save 10 or 15 minutes right there every time you travel. And it's free with TripIt Pro for a year. I'll tell you as well that this is something my wife and I just discovered, that with the Barclays Arrival credit card, you get free membership in TripIt Pro for a year. So we just signed up for that so I can get another year of TripIt Pro. I have no affiliation with TripIt or with Hertz or with Barclays. I just think it's pretty cool, and I wanted to let you know. The great thing then is with TripIt is what I noted at the bottom. You can share your trips very easily with your virtual assistant, and your virtual assistant can share any itinerary updates or anything like that with you extremely easily. So that's it. I've given you everything you need to know and given you all the tools you need in order to go liberate your life. Go out today and hire a virtual assistant. It is going to change your life. It changed my life. It changed my business. It changed my family and personal life in so many countless beneficial ways that I cannot recommend it highly enough to you. I want you to follow along too, though, because we're going to be having discussion here on Udemy to talk about maybe some of the roadblocks that we run into with finding a VA, hiring one, working with one. I'm here to help you out because this can, again, change your life. Don't stop until you started working with that first VA. If you run into problems, let me know. I'm here to help you. Thanks for following along with all of the lessons, and good luck.